91% fairways hit lifetime average with the driver? Are you kidding me? If you've ever spent any time with Moe Norman, you would say, yeah, I could see that being very possible. The other 9% of the time, Moe was just simply in the first cut of rough. And when he says that the last time he hit one out of bounds, this was back in 2000, and it was 7 years prior to that, he says, yeah, the ball went right out of bounds. I said, never again, and still going strong. So if you've ever spent a time watching Moe give a clinic or had the chance to play golf with him like I did, you'd be flabbergasted at how easy it was for that man to play golf, okay? So one of the things that I learned from him as far as driving the ball that's really helped me tremendously, and it's helped so many of my thousands of our students. So there's a very specific way that you need to set up in order to hit drivers properly. So if you had an iron in your hands and you're hitting shots off the ground, well, you want to be catching the ball first, then catching the grass, then catching the ground. So the low point of the swing is definitely out in front of the ball. So if I had a ball on a string, notice the tee I have right here in front of me. So if I wanted to catch the tee slightly on the way down, first thing I do is you'll notice the center of this circle is my right hand. So I'm going to position my right hand slightly in front of the tee. So notice now the low point of this ball on a string is in front of the tee. And you notice I'm catching the tee on the way down. So that's how I would do it with an iron. But with a driver, you want to catch it on the way up. So we got to bring the center over here, lower the center, there you go. Now I'm catching the ball, the tip of the tee, on the way up. So if you look at the difference in the club head from a driver to an iron, well, notice the center of mass of this club is right underneath the shaft. The center of mass of this club is well back of the shaft. And you'll notice that there's way less loft on a driver than a 7-iron. So what we're looking for is we want to feel that we're catching it on the way up to give it the proper launch angle. And because we're hitting up on it, we're catching it on the way up, we're reducing dramatically the amount of spin. So the ball launches, the ultimate launch is between 12 and 15 degrees, and it doesn't balloon up and fall straight to the ground. So when it falls, it keeps going. If you watch how Moe used to set up, he used to set up back here. Well, notice the center's there. He brings the club back a center. And now, doesn't that look like I'm going to catch the ball as my club is returning upwards? Hear that? That little flick of the tee? So notice the blur of the club as it's going low here, high there. So that gives me that upward angle of attack and to give me low spin and high launch. Now, if I change that, if I face the ball, this is what you'll see everybody do. So when I'm facing the ball is in the center of my system now. So remember we talked about the ball on a string. So if I have a ball on a string with one arm here, so the ball is the club head, the shaft and the arm is the string, and that string is moving around the center of my swing, which is now my right shoulder socket. Notice how the club is falling at the same place, right behind my right heel. So now, if I want to bring that over here, I want to catch it on the way down, I'm going to set up right about here. Now I'm catching it on the way down. I want to catch it on the way up, I'm going to set up right about here. Now I'm catching it on the way up. Pretty easy to understand, isn't it? So, when I bring both arms together to take my grip, the center of my swing is the sternal notch, the point where the two clavicles join the rib cage right there. So I want the center to be well back of the tee, depending on how high the tee is, and I'm just going to allow the ball on a string to move around that center. Notice I'm catching the tip of the tee on the way up. See how accurate that is? So I am giving control of my arm club unit, and I'm allowing it to track like a beautiful ball on a string around its arc. There's the center of it, and that's where everything deploys from it, okay? So if we look at the distance between you and the ball, very important. So I've got, let me get something shorter here. I've got my 9 iron. So if I swing back and through without stopping, notice where that 9 iron wants to cut grass, right there. So that would be the distance between my hands and the body with the 9 iron. So now I bring that up to a 5 iron. So now you'll notice with the 5 iron, there it is. Notice how my hands with the 9 iron were here, with the 5 iron, they're here. Well, now if I do that with the driver, and the ball is in the air with the driver, so on the ground would be there. There it is. In the air would be there. See how that works? Now it feels like the club can swing and catch the tip of the tee slightly on the way up, right about here. So notice my hands cannot be the same distance to my body with every club. So the longer it gets, the further away it's going to be. If I had a 60-inch shaft like this hitting stick, then my hands would be here. Now it feels like I can, swing and catch the tip of the tee out there. So to you, to many of you, this will feel like you're reaching. Well, this would be reaching. Notice how I'm falling off balance? This is pre-deploying. So I'm allowing gravity to simply track it, and I'm going to use my eyes to see the blur of the club and see where that club is passing. So if I want the ball, let's say I'm going to use this tee right here to help you guys out. So I'm going to give my control to gravity and let gravity swing the club wherever it wants to be swung. So notice it's passing right here. So if I want to clip the tee, all I got to do is this. So I get closer, and now from there, notice how gravity is going to naturally clip that tee. So, real simple. I put the ball on a tee. I'll pick an intermediate point. So let's say I want to deliver right over my keep out sign. The right edge of that intermediate point from where I'm standing is the keep out sign. I want to feel like I'm going to catch the tip of the tee on the way up and to the right edge of that. So if I was hitting a little draw, I want that little counterclockwise spin. I got to allow the club to swing more away from me. So I'm going to play the ball just a smidgen back in the stance, which is this far inside my instep. And the reason why it feels like I'm going to catch it on the way up and to the right of that if I line up just right over it. So if I want to hit a fade, I want to start it over the intermediate point and fade it back behind the keep out sign. Then I would line up more left and feel like I'm going to catch it on the way up and over that intermediate point. Notice now the ball position is going to be right off my instep. So off the instep, it feels like I'm going to brush it slightly, give it a clockwise spin. And just inside the instep, feels like I'm going to catch it and give it a little counterclockwise spin. So, does it feel like I'm going to catch it on the way up? Yes. Does it feel like it's going to the right edge of that intermediate point? Yes. All right. So all I got to do is give it to gravity and let gravity track the arc. My eyes are on the back of the tee, not on the ball. So my eyes are there. And it feels like, see the mark? There are my tee tips. So if I clip the tip of the tee there, then the ball is going to meet the center of the club face. So I'm never focusing on the ball. I'm always focusing on allowing the arms to track their arc, and I predict that when I allow it to track, that it's going to clip the tip of the tee. Does it feel like it's going to clip the tip of the tee on the way up? Yes. Does it feel like it's moving in the direction I want it to? No. No. Yes. Do you see how I moved around? This is in the same position. If I just turn my feet, well, now the ball back off, it's off my back foot. The ball's outside my front foot. It's inside the instep, still inside the instep, still inside the instep. There we go. Now I've got the right direction. So just give it to gravity already. Absolutely nutted. Right in the center of that club face, right over that keep out sign. So it felt like everything was in order. All I had to do now is give it to gravity. Let gravity track it. And I'm now saying that it's tracking in that direction, it's tracking in that direction, it's tracking in that direction. It just went in that direction. How did we do? That's what when we talk about stay with your shot, that's what it means. So, yes, it feels like I'm going to clip it on the way up. I see so many of you take the club back like this. Well, that's pretty darn good if you're trying to hit the ball. So if you wanted to hit the ball, bang, that would be pretty good. But don't expect a golf shot because it has nothing to do with your golf shot out there. So if your attention goes to, ooh, I better make sure I hit the ball, you're toast. It's over. You've just abandoned ship, okay? And a good captain always goes down with his or her ship. Got it? So you got to go down with your ship. I'm going that way. There's my flight plan. If I go that way, it feels like I'm clipping the tip of the tee. Beautiful. Let it go that way. Let it go that way. See how I'm clipping the tee? Perfect. So now if the sole of the club clips the tee, the ball's going to meet the center of the club face. So I'm always in a wait and see pattern. If I let it track the arc in that direction, I'm clipping the tip of the tee on the way up. Still am, still am. Just did, went down with my ship, and that was just fantastic. That felt so flipping good. Right in the center of the club face, you heard the sound. The velocity that came off of there was extremely satisfying. The sound was satisfying. The feel was amazing, okay? I want that for you guys. So listen to what I'm saying, practice it, feel it, and enjoy it.